Welcome back, guys, to Kerbal Space Explosion. What we're looking at is the interplanetary stage of Computron, our ship, our Gestalt, which is going to fly to Jewel, hopefully, split into 5 parts, and explore the 5 moons of Jewel. Computron, if you're not familiar, I'll go over real briefly, is a transformer. Disregard the crappy Michael Bay movies. I'm talking mostly about the comics and the cartoons from the 80s and the original Generation 1 toys. Computron was one of the Gestalts. He was 5 robots, the Technobots, who were all individuals. There was a spaceship, a jet fighter, a futuristic car, a motorcycle, and a kind of a drill tank thing. And they would all combine into one big robot called Computron, who was like a scientist. They were all super smart. And so I thought it was appropriate, since we were combining ships, to go to Jewel, that we're going to theme all of our ships on the Technobots. This is really nerdy, but hey, we're already playing Kerbal Space Program, so I think I'm allowed. This is the interplanetary stage that I designed and put in orbit last video. And next, we need to design the guys one at a time, and they're going to attach 4 of them on the sides and 1 on the top. Hopefully that's a more stable configuration than the super ship we sent to Eve, which had one guy on top of another guy on top of another guy, and sort of flopped around like a snake a little bit. It was, or a rope or whatever. It was very unstable. Hopefully this guy will be more stable. Oh, did I mention that Computron is mostly red? That's right, we've got colored lights in Kerbal Space Program. I'm not sure how long this has actually been a feature, that you could make the lights a certain shade, but you can do it now in the vehicle assembly building. You can choose a color by right-clicking on them. You've got a slider for red, green, and blue. It's pretty cool. So I've decided to dye him red. I thought about installing a mod, purely for the purposes of painting the ship parts. But I decided this was a little bit simpler, and I don't really want to delve into mods until I've done everything there is to do in the vanilla game. And this is one of them, going to Jewel. So this is the interplanetary stage. I think it looks pretty darn cool. I'm happy with the design. It's got all the things you would expect. Let's go to the Space Center. Very briefly, let's take a look at Jewel and its 5 moons. The first Technobot we're going to design is going to be Strafe. Strafe is a jet fighter. He's the left arm of Computron. I have to put a little, in the beginning of all these videos, I feel the need to put a little disclaimer. This is not going to look like a giant robot in space. They're not going to transform into robots. We're still playing Kerbal Space Program. But I'm going to do my best to make each of the ships that land on the moon look like the vehicle form of each of the Technobots. So, Strafe is going to be the one we send to Lathe, because Lathe is a moon with an atmosphere, an oxygen atmosphere. So we could send a space plane to it. Lathe has relatively high gravity, 0.8 gravity, compared to Kerbin's 1.0, and it has an atmosphere of 50,000 meters compared to Kerbin's 70,000 meters. So the theory goes, if you can design a space plane that can, from Kerbin's surface, get into orbit around Kerbin, then it should work on Lathe, taking off from Lathe to get into orbit around Lathe. So we're going to design a space plane. We're going to model it after the Transformer Technobot Strafe, the left arm of Computron. And hopefully, oh gosh, it's going to be complicated, but let's see what we can do. So, here's the finished product. This is Strafe, and just for comparison, maybe I'll try to remember to put a picture of the toy Strafe, or maybe from the cartoon or something like that, up on the screen so you can compare and contrast basically what he looks like with what the model I'm basing it on looks like. This was by far the most frustrating, time-consuming ship I've ever had to design in Kerbal Space Program. Literally, more than 2 days has passed since last clip and this clip. I spent more than 2 days designing this guy. The reason being that he is off-center. So when we're in atmosphere, and we're going to do a test flight in just a minute, but I just want to explain this. When we're in the atmosphere and we're using the wings to help us lift off the ground, this guy flies great. You notice he's got these tanks on his back to give him the shape that the toy has. He's got these tanks on his back, and that's fine when we're in atmosphere and using the wings for lift. The problem comes when we get out of the atmosphere and we become a rocket. Now, you notice the engines are here, and this is basically the center line that the thrust is moving through. It's pushing this way, and we've got these tanks on our back, which put us off-center and make us want to flop over either this way or that way, one or the other, I don't remember. It took a lot of time to figure out the solution to this problem, and it wasn't just a matter of adding more reaction wheels. I do have several. But finally, I got something that works. It's not perfect, but it works, and it'll get into orbit. Let's do a test flight, and then we'll send the guy to orbit. I have successfully, like I said, I spent more than 2 days working on this one design, which has actually slowed down my YouTube channel. I have such an obsession for this game that I've put my YouTube channel and my Twitch channel on hold for a couple days, just trying to get this guy to work. Oh, I have a problem. He does this sometimes, actually. Let's just go ahead and let him lift off his nose and wait for the rear wheels to lift off at around 70 meters per second. If I just do this, he'll probably get there. He doesn't lift off that fast, but once we are on lathe, he should lift off easier because the gravity is less. Come on, guy. Go ahead, lift off. Maybe if we just hit... I'm trying to keep that nuclear... There we go. I'm trying to keep the nuclear engine from smashing in the ground. Then if we tilt back some more... There we go. Yes! So he's pretty heavy. This is not an optimized jet plane. He handles okay. He's big and heavy, and he's like has a very weird shape because I based him on the Transformer Strafe. But he flies. He works, and we're not climbing. Let's go ahead and climb some. Now, in order to speed things up, because it is a very time-consuming process to get this guy into orbit around Kerbal, I'm actually going to use I'm gonna strap some rockets to his butt and launch him vertically in order to rendezvous with Computron. This guy is the left arm of Computron. It's not going to look like a robot in Kerbal Space Program, but it'll at least look like the toy, the space plane vehicle jet fighter guy. I thought about actually putting some rockets on the sides. Those new command pod escape module things. I'm pretty sure I could make some little rockets out of those guys, but I ended up not doing that. I may put that on one of the other guys. Let's see. Let's do a roll. No, that's not a roll. What are you doing? See, look, if I go flat, we're already losing altitude because he's so heavy. Let's do a roll. Hey-o! Okay. Didn't lose stability. Let's try a steep bank. Now, if I pull back too hard on this guy, he probably will. I probably will go into a spin, and I don't want to do that. But he steers fairly tight. We have a lot of control surfaces on the front, which was necessary to keep him from, I guess, to keep him from doing that, from going into a spin. Let's actually come back here, see if we can land him. And if we can land him, maybe that'll be like a successful test. We are descending rather sharply. Let's go and put the landing gear out, just so I don't forget. And this plane's right here is right at sea level. Okay, so we want to come down to here and then pull up so that we're not losing altitude so fast. Actually, I do want to lose a little bit. Okay, now we can pull up. Pull our nose off. This will just be a little test because we are going to have to land this guy on lathe. And keep in mind, we have to do it without breaking that nuclear engine on the butt. And we're going to be landing on a little island. Oh, come on, pull up, pull up. Oh. I didn't mean to hit V, I meant to hit B for brakes. Whoa! Yeah, that's kind of a problem. Maybe I should put some struts right there. Maybe it's not a big problem. Maybe I should put some wheels on the front here. Maybe that would help if I put a pair of landing legs on these front guys. Yeah, I bet that's the answer. Okay. So we landed. We landed on this plane. Let's see if we can take off. If we can take off, land, and take off again on Kerbal, and I already know that I can get the guy into orbit because I've tested that, then we'll call this a reasonably successful test. This bouncing is a problem. I do need to put some wheels on these guys on the front here, which I'll do in just a minute. As soon as we hopefully successfully take off with this guy. And everything we do here will be easier on lathe because the gravity is lighter and the atmosphere is a little bit thinner too, which I hope isn't a problem at sea level. There we go. All right, perfect. Yeah, we took off. We can't exactly climb vertically with this guy, but we can climb a little bit. But I will call that a successful test. I'm going to make that little modification to this guy, and then we're going to launch him. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! So this should get us into orbit a little bit faster than doing it the spaceplane way by actually using the atmosphere to help our lift. Keep in mind that we are going... Oh, what is... We're already off center. Keep it easy. Don't go off center. Okay, let's actually rotate this way, 90 degrees, so that when I flip over to the gravity turn, we're going to be using our wings to help a little bit, hopefully. Oh gosh, and man, this thing is a little kind of hard to control. And we're already... Yeah. Come on, wrestle with it. Straighten up. Straighten up. We need to go straight up and down. Straight up and down. Get that vector fixed, buddy. Oh, wow. This thing is actually kind of hard to control. There it is. It's kind of centered now. Okay, let's get it going. So I put some extra tanks on the bottom of the guy because keep in mind, we're going to need the fuel in the jet itself to get into orbit around Lathe and then to go through the system, you know, to get into a rendezvous with Computron and the other guys. Okay, we are slowly ascending, but that's okay. This should be fine. We have a lot of fuel in this stage. So I put these extra tanks here, these Rocco Max whatevers, and I put a bunch of these LV909s here because they don't take up much room. I don't have much space without this guy running into the other parts of the ship that we're going to dock to. So we're going to use this fuel for these tanks to fly from whatever orbit we end up in around Joule to Lathe, and then get into an encounter where basically we get low enough that the atmosphere captures us, and then we can land using our wings and hopefully avoid the oceans and actually land on an island. Might be tricksy, but we'll figure it out. We do have a lot of fuel, and if I can get into orbit around Kerbal, then it should be easier around Lathe. But hey, I've never done it before, so who knows what could go wrong. A lot of things, probably. Oh, we need to... What am I doing? We need to start our gravity turn. We're going fast. I was too busy talking, not looking at our speed. Now, let's see. I put my wings like this, hopefully that I could use the control surfaces to stabilize our angle, which seems to have worked. Maybe the SAS would be enough. I'm not really sure. But I thought it wouldn't hurt to help. We're already at 40,000, so I'm going to turn over even more. I sort of screwed this up. We need to get our orbital momentum going. There we go. Yeah, we're already at 50. So I'm going to turn over basically all the way. We're out of the thick part of the atmosphere. Good. Let's turn over all the rest of the way. Computron was basically right above us when I launched, or, you know, a little bit past us. Let's stay right there. So Computron, I actually circularized his orbit to 77.5 kilometers, and it didn't take much fuel to do that because, well, I kind of forgot how efficient those nuclear engines were. I think it took like 2 fuel, or like something silly like that, 2 or 3 to circularize. 2 or 3 from each tank of the outside layer. So we're going to go up to about 72, maybe 72. We need to catch up to the guys. We need to be in a lower orbit. So let's just do that. So we'll get to this apoapsis in about a minute and a half. And we still have a lot. We have a lot of fuel. We should be fine. Look at this guy. He looks pretty sexy, doesn't he? I really like the design of this plane. As hard as he is to fly, the guys I was flying around with my little dynamo guys, they are so much easier to fly than this guy, but he does look cool. I will give him that. Let's create a maneuver node. And as long as we get above 70, I have no problem taking a lot of time to be finicky with this and rendezvousing with that guy. The important part is to get into orbit. The rest should be possibly tedious, but not too difficult. That'll get us up to 71. That's good enough. That'll be a burn of 27 seconds. I think we have enough, so we need to go all the way to maybe around 14 or 15 seconds. I'll start throttling up. It takes, I don't know, like probably 2 full seconds to throttle all the way up. So you need to start a little bit shy, or a little bit longer than halfway to your burn, or to your node. That's my opinion on the matter. So let's see. We're still not even above 70. As soon as we hit above 70, let's get right on this mark. There's 70,000. All right, we're out of the atmosphere. And we want to get right about, and burn. Oh, sick burn. Okay, and just hope that we have enough fuel for this. The orbit I did wasn't the most efficient, going so high before starting the gravity turn. Oh yeah, we got plenty of fuel. No worries at all. It is a little bit hard to control. I am having to wrestle with it a little bit, but that's okay. I didn't expect this mission to be easy. When you make your plane shapes and rocket shapes based on these cartoon characters that are asymmetrical and weren't designed to be efficient rockets, you may run into problems. Okay, that's still not high enough. Actually, I'm going to come over to the apoapsis to fix that so that we don't end up with a wonky orbit. So let's speed up around to here. We're behind Computron. So basically, I'm just going to go around and around a bunch of times until we catch up some more. And then we will start the usual rendezvous maneuvers of setting Computron as a target, burning towards Computron, then killing off our relative momentum, rinse and repeat over and over. And then once we get kind of close, we'll start doing, oh gosh, yeah, hard to control until we get rid of the lift tank that got us in orbit. Okay, let's just go up to that far. Okay, cut that throttle. 73 and 74.5. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, so I think I'm actually going to keep these guys until let's turn SAS off so we're not using electrical charge, and let's do a time warp so we're not bobbing back and forth. Looks pretty cool, this guy. I really like the design. Is really cool. He's a pain in the butt to fly, but he looks really cool. Okay. We can now set Computron as our target. And as you can see, we're really far. 500 kilometers away at our nearest intersect. But if we keep going around and around, that'll get closer and closer. And once we get close enough to be able to rendezvous, I'll keep recording. I'll continue recording. All right, here we are. We have a 0.4 meters per second relative velocity. We can go ahead and shed these tanks. I estimated pretty well. Look at that. We're down to only 353 liquid fuel in each of them. Stage. And then we can start using the RCS. Let's see. Let's go into camera chase. There we go. That should help. Why cannot I? There we go. Okay, good. Now we want to rotate a bit, like so. Basically, we're going to line up and dock to these two guys right over there. And so let's set this as our target. Set as target. There we go. And basically, I'm going to, I guess we'll, let's see, what's the best way to do it? I guess we could line up with it like this. Let's go sideways for a bit until we are basically perpendicular with it, lined up perfectly. So we'll go to the left for a little bit. And then we'll go up a little bit. And then we'll go straight at it, and then we will rotate ourselves 90 degrees, so we sort of land on it flat. This is a very tedious procedure. It's why after the first couple of times of doing it on camera, I've started editing the most of it out. But we can use a time warp to sort of exaggerate the effects of our... Oh, we're actually moving away from it. So let's also go... Oops, that's my lights. We want to go H. We want to use H to go forward, because we are moving away from it. That's no good. Let's check our relative velocity. 0.2. We want to get it up to at least... There we go. Are we still moving away from it? Let's look at the side view like this. Okay, we're moving towards it now. 0.3 meters per second. And we want to move to the left. So we're going to hit J. We want to go up. I believe that's going to be I. No. It's going to be K. To go up. And we're basically just going to line up with it. Then we're going to go straight towards it. And then rotate. And hopefully everything goes smoothly. And I designed it correctly. Let me turn the lights back on. Ooh, that looks nice. I forgot to turn some of these lights. Oh no, those are the landing gear. Yeah, I forgot to change them to red too, but that's all right. They don't all have to be red. But hopefully I designed it so that it fits on there correctly. Otherwise, I'm going to have to send it back to Kerbal, redesign it, and then bring it back up, which would be fairly tedious. Looks like they've started their auto-docking procedures or whatever. They're going to sit there and smooch each other for a little bit. Oh, it looks like it did not success. Oh, is it still working? I think they're still doing their thing. Let's turn RCS and SAS off. So that's not interfering with them trying to... Oh, come on. What's going on here? Okay, let's try giving them a little bit of help. Maybe if we do this, and then that, and then rotate. Oh, yes. Come on. You know you can do it. Oh, come on. You know you want to. Oh, you want to go this way. There you go. And then rotate that way. Oh, you're so close. You're so close. Please connect. Please connect. Connect. They're almost there. Look how close we are. Oh, I think it's about to happen. If this doesn't work, come on. What's going to work? Oh. Yes. Oh, it worked. Awesome. Look at all of those engines active. Sweet. That looks awesome. Let me turn off the lights for a second, just for contrast to see what the difference is. So, we now have a combined 9,900 electric charge, 38,000 liquid fuel, 46,000 oxidizer, a little bit of solid fuel left, and some monopropellant. Look at this guy. Let's time accelerate. Let's check our orbit. Nothing should have changed there. 77.5. 77.5. I'm a little bit worried that after we get all 5 ships on here, there's going to be so many parts. It's going to be really laggy. But, well, sometimes you just have to make sacrifices. Are these lights always on? You see how there's little lights there? See how that's illuminated? Let me time accelerate down. Is this draining electrical charge here? Doesn't seem to be, so I think we're okay. All right, let's fast forward around to the sunlight. Man, this thing looks cool, and it fit, which means I designed it correctly. We have a little bit of leeway between the nose cone of this guy and that guy. How close are we to the sun? Oh, we're almost there. Here comes the sun. Oh, and we're in the sunlight. Awesome. So next thing to do, next guy we're going to design is Nose Cone, who is like a drill tank guy. And we're going to put him... We're going to put him opposite of Strafe here. So he's going to hang off of this side, and they're going to have to be relatively the same mass so that when we fire these rockets, we can go in a straight direction and it doesn't throw us off course. And then the other two, here and here, we'll design those after that point so that we know that they fit, right? So we're going to design them one at a time, connect them, and then make sure everything fits one thing at a time. The motorcycle and the futuristic car will go on these sides, and they'll be the same size to keep the balance going. And then on the nose here, we're going to put scatter shots, the leader, the spaceship guy. And we'll do him last so that we make sure he fits with like things like this sticking out. But there is the first one connected. Looks awesome so far. It's going to just start looking more and more ridiculous as we fit these guys to it. Does that not look awesome or what? Before we launch for Joule, I'll of course have to go through the stages and make sure there's nothing turned on and that we have all the, that when we, for instance, fire these decouplers, it doesn't turn on things here. Things like that. But we've got quite a bit to do before we worry about that. Let's turn the lights on. Look at that. Red lights for the most part. And we've got... Let me see if I can find a transformer, an Autobot decal. There should be one. Well, I know where there is one down here. Right there. Right there. There's the Autobot symbol. There should be a few more here and there, but I'm not sure exactly on which tanks they end up with. And when we put flags on the moons, they'll show up as well. Anyway, okay, enough rambling. That's it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned next time for Nose Cone. He's going to look ridiculous too. See you later. Bye-bye.